So welcome back, everyone. My name is Joyce Nolan. Laura had a nickname for everyone, so the subsequent people come up. Please tell us your nickname. She looked at me one day and she said, I know what I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you Juicy. And she did, and that was my nickname. And Ropes told me a week ago that he didn't even know my name was Joyce until about a year ago. He thought my real name was Juicy. So Laura and I were trying to figure out when we met, and we believe it was somewhere in the mid-90s. We go back pretty far, not only with catering, but I also assisted her on dog grooming. And we got very close. Every 2 weeks we dog groomed 5 little Maltese puppies. Oh, it was just divine. And of course it was a 5-hour gig every 2 weeks, and we would talk. And I don't know how many of you know this, but she loved to sing. And she knew that I was a singer. So all we did for those dog grooming sessions was sing one song after another. Okay, what should we do now? Well, I said, well, let's pick a show. Okay, so we'd pick a show, and then we'd sing every song we knew from that show. And that's what we did for 5 hours. So we had a wonderful time. In December, I went to visit Laura at Lucie's apartment, and she wasn't feeling so good. But she was laying on the sofa, and she said, okay, Juicy, let's sing. I said, okay, what do you want to sing? So we sang a lot of songs, but one of her favorites was Summertime. So I kind of sang it for her, and she said, did you know that Janis Joplin has a recording of Summertime? Janis Joplin? She said, yeah, I'm going to put it on for you. So she went to her computer and she put it on. I couldn't believe it. I personally thought that Janis Joplin was like ruining this beautiful Gershwin song. But Laura just perked up, and she got off the sofa, and she moved over to me, and we got out our air guitars, and we just started rocking out. One of the pictures that you saw on the screen was us just rocking out to Janis Joplin singing Summertime. So I thought I would sing it for you, just a cappella, and just the way Laura liked to hear it. She probably would have liked Janis Joplin's version better, but since I don't know how to do that, I'm just going to sing it my way. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your mom's good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, there ain't nothing can harm you. Then you'll spread your wings, and you'll take to the sky. But till that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you. With Daddy and Mammy standing by. That's for you, Laura.
Laura's nickname we had the same nickname for each other, and that was Deber, which
Talking the mics.
which came from Dive Buddy, and Laura was my dive buddy for 20 years, and we spent many hours together under the water. She was a warrior, and I trusted her absolutely under the water. She loved sea turtles more than anything. She'd always say, "Oh, Deborah, I'm going to have sex with that sea turtle." So as soon as we were in the water and we saw the sea turtle, we looked at each other and we would go. And she would commune with the sea turtle. She would look at it and float with it. And it would let her put its hands like on the shell and just float, and like a good dive buddy, I would just float along. So I'm going to play a song and do a communing sea turtle. This just seemed like the right thing to me to do for Laura, to bring her here. So if anyone feels like they need to get up and commune with the sea turtle. So I'm going to play a song.
Found a sea turtle while swimming today. She was munching on seaweed under the bay. I touched his fin and he looked back at me and hold on tight, don't let go, and I'll show you all of the places I know. It's a garden down here under the sea, full of purple and coral and aquamarine. Yes, our favorite, hold on to a shell, but I wasn't a strong swimmer and I didn't swim well. He looked at me and this he did say, if you hold on tight, you'll be okay. Hold on tight, don't let go, I'll show you all the places I know. It's a garden down here under the sea, full of purple and coral and aquamarine. We swam for hours up there in the sea, my brave new friend, the sea turtle and me. Slowly we headed on back to shore, and I wanted to swim just a little bit more.
She never wanted to come up.
Never. Hold on tight, don't let go, I'll show you all.
Suck the air like right down to the end. Luckily, we breathe the same amount of air, same time, same rate. She's here, I know. She is. I'll never replace her, ever.
Back in the bay, I waved goodbye, and that's when I found a tear in my eye. I'll come again, same time next year, for with you I know I've nothing to fear. Hold on tight, don't let go, and I'll show you all the places I know. The garden down here, under the sea, full of purple and coral. It's a garden down here, under the sea, full of purple and coral.
I'm a writer, so I don't normally speak, so bear with me. I'm Lucie. I was Mrs. Laura Scher. Laura and I loved being Mrs. and Mrs. We loved being married, and she was my soulmate, the love of my life. I knew from the moment that I met her, and I saw her picture online and read her words, that we were destined to be together. Her openness and gentleness, her joy, love, sweetness, and playfulness transformed my life and made me a better person. Laura and I had been together barely a year when my sister, who is here, said, "I know Laura is good for you. You are back to your old playful self." My own lifelong struggle with multiple sclerosis had made me quite serious. But with Laura, I laughed all the time. We didn't just giggle, we screamed and howled with laughter, even at the Gerson clinic. We sang out of tune, we danced all the time, we played games, but I never once beat her at thumb wrestling. From the outside, it might look like the last 8 months were a train wreck. She got sick and died. It was not the journey we thought we were going on. We thought Laura would heal during the Gerson clinic. We thought we threw everything we had into being together and doing the diet for 2 years. Although we didn't succeed in curing her cancer, her lifelong struggle with sugar binging did end after just 3 weeks at the Gerson clinic. And the funny little Fisher-Wallace stimulator that we bought online cured her depression in just 2 weeks. But she had one of the worst forms of cancer, a rare mucosal melanoma. We were told at the start it was hopeless. Was the Gerson a waste of time? One of the doctors at Sloan Kettering at the end of her life said it probably helped keep her pain in check for a very long time. Doing the Gerson diet, we had a great adventure. We gave each other our best gifts, and it brought a new and beautiful closeness to us. It is as if we were put into a crucible and everything unnecessary and unwanted got burnt off. Little sips of sweetness were our daily food. But one of the biggest gifts Laura got was not from me. It was from her amazing family of friends. How surprised and delighted she was when everyone rallied around to help. It was one of the many gifts of the last months of her life, that she truly realized how loved she was. That first weekend after we arrived back from the Gerson clinic, she was jumping up and down for joy, shouting, "My friends are coming, my friends are coming." Many of you came and wrestled with the juicer, which we affectionately called the Beast. You joined our crusade to heal Laura via the blog and donated via the GoFundMe page. The outpouring of love and support was extraordinary, and it transformed Laura's life. It buoyed her up and kept her going through her darkest hours. One of the wonderful things about Laura was that she was always just herself. There was no facade. What she projected was her easygoing, playful inner core. Even at the hospital, in typical Laura style, she tried to fix up one of the handsome young doctors with a cute nurse. And to get him to loosen up his work attire, she suggested he come in daily wearing shorts. She charmed everyone. I received the most beautiful letters from 2 of the top doctors at the hospital after she passed. Both remarked on how exceptional and courageous she was in spite of her grave illness. I know Laura is still playing and having fun, just in another dimension. I feel her energy around me sometimes as a beautiful white light, odd words that pop into my head, and songs that spontaneously play on my computer. Friends and loved ones have told me that she has popped up in their dreams. Often she is playing with their dogs. My favorite Laura sighting is when she appeared in someone's dream, naked and gleefully shouting, "We come into this life naked and we leave naked." That's my Laura. Wherever you are, dear Laura, I love you still.
Hi everybody, I'm Steve Brown, and I had the privilege and honor of being a friend of Laura's and working with her for, my God, almost 25 years. We grew up together, in the business. And I just learned that I wasn't the only one that had a nickname. Anybody else think they were the only one that had a nickname? I never realized. I was Brownie, Brownness, Brownie Poo, Brown Bear, and a host of other things that she would call me. And she had a number of nicknames for me also. Shareness, Shariness, crazy stuff. And I think I came up here without any notes, and I did it for a reason, because one of the things that Laura taught me was to be spontaneous. Just to kind of show up and just be yourself. Don't worry about what anybody's thinking, and just have fun, And I always need a little bit of a sort of a needling to sort of just let go and have fun, and she really, really helped me with that. In a lot of ways. We laughed an awful lot together, and a lot of respect for her. And, one of the things about Laura is that she had a way of always just making you feel good in her presence. If you were having a bad day, she'd pick up on it. She had this sort of, sixth sense. And she'd go, "What's wrong? What's wrong, Brownie?" She'd say, "Brownie, what do you have over there?" And then she'd touch. You know how she would do that? She'd run her finger up your arm and you start laughing. And she just had her own crazy way of sort of bringing out the best in you. And I think that of anything, Laura brought the best out in all of us. She had a way of uniting everybody. A particularly special way of uniting everyone. Running a business is not easy, and having all different kinds of personalities is, it's a challenge. And boy, she was great at it. I mean, she had a way of sort of bridging differences, and things didn't go well, she'd smooth it over. She just had this kind of, healing quality to her. And she did it with a light touch. She did it with humor. She did it with a lot of panache. Clients loved her. I mean, really loved her. They would call up, I want Laura. Well, Laura's, you have to switch her. I want her. I want her. No, I won't do the party otherwise. I mean, it would come down to that sometimes. And they just really enjoyed her presence, as we all did. And many of us that are here tonight, who work together, are here because of Laura. I mean, yes, I have a company, but Laura, in many ways, assembled all the people who have worked in catering together for so many years. She's been the glue that's held it all together. And she chose carefully. She was picky. She knew the people she liked. She had her own sort of ethics. She'd make mistakes sometimes, but basically she united everyone in love, which I think is really very clear from what everyone said tonight. And she also taught me about, she didn't have it easy. Laura had some inner demons that she struggled with also. And she always rose above it. And she helped me a lot with that, because we were kindred souls in a lot of ways that way. She just had a way of rising above and just pushing through. She wouldn't let anything keep her down. Even if she didn't feel that way, she always presented herself in such a way that was positive, charming, beautiful, fun, just unique and unusual, to say the least. And I miss her dearly. I know all of us do. And thank you for coming.
Enough wine, or we did have too much? I'm Reg, and Laura's nickname for me for each other was Yaya, which was Ya-Meister, Ya-Bo, Ya-Booey, and some other X-rated probably versions thereof. A lot of things that I would have said about Laura today, what she meant to me and how much I treasured her and her friendship in the 30 years that we knew each other. I tried to say to her while she was still with us, because I really wanted her to know them, and not just you guys. So one of those things I wanted to share with you, because I think it changed my life. Several years ago, I was at a low point in my life. I had lost touch with a lot of people who meant a great deal to me. And Laura knew it, and she knew that I needed my old friends around me. And she knew that one friend in particular, Nikki, worked in a salon in somewhere in Rockefeller Center. She didn't know where exactly. So she went in and out of every salon there until she found Nikki, and she brought us together. And the three of us became inseparable. And we went on to have many great adventures together on 2 continents and 6 countries. And because of Laura's big heart, I have my old friends back, and I have great new friends as well, and I'm so very grateful for that. Laura was my movie gal, my sushi gal, my flea market gal, my snow day gal, my Washington Square Park gal. She was silly 1 minute, and she was profound the next. She was generous, and she was gifted, and she was drop-dead gorgeous, as you saw. And I'm really lucky to have been considered her friend.
I brought notes. I'm Nikki, and Laura's nickname for me was Nixie Dixie Doo, which she usually said while she was twanging my bra strap. I had a lot of mixed feelings about coming here tonight because although I really wanted to share my memories of Laura and talk about our friendship, I knew it would make it seem real. You know, it hasn't been real to me that she's gone because, 3 weeks would go by and we wouldn't talk, or we wouldn't be together. And especially like after this presentation, it just like really brought it home that she's gone. And I just wanted to come and, share some thoughts. We were friends for 34 years, and we started out as bar friends. And we would get together and meet at a bar with Reg and go out and try to meet some girls. And what happened was that we enjoyed each other's company so much, we forgot our mission. We would go home alone. Not Reg. I think of our long friendship in two parts. The first part was the camaraderie and the carefree days of our youth when we were just young and cute together, followed by a decade-long separation where we just lost touch. And then, as Reg said, when Laura came and brought us back together again. And this second stage, it got really deep. We became family. We were sisters. And we knew that it would be for life. And so it was. We thought it would be longer, but, it's a time that I will always treasure, my time with Laura. She was, without a doubt, one of the most guileless people that I ever knew. There was no pretense. What you saw was what you got. And she was the most fiercely loyal friend. If she loved you, she didn't hold back. And if somebody did you wrong, she had no use or tolerance for them. And I am one of the lucky people who was the recipient of that love. If there was one theme, one issue I think that Laura struggled with her whole life, it was her insecurity about being loved. For as long as I know her, she always was in doubt that people really cared for her. And look around, look at this room, It's really hard to believe that someone that special could question whether she was worthy of love. But I know that at the end of her life, she had no doubt that she was a very loved person, and that's due to all of you, everybody coming together, extending themselves with service and generosity and just unconditional caring. And I know that she was grateful and appreciative and humbled by everything that everybody here did for her. She wasn't sure that anybody would show up for her. She wasn't sure the weekend warriors would come once they knew what these shifts entailed and what that beast entailed. She figured you'd all only come once. And yet you all just kept coming back, and you proved her wrong. And I remember a conversation I had during her illness with her, and there were many people who wanted to see her, but because her energy was not so good and the rigorous Gerson protocol only allowed for people who juiced or could do service, there were people that were left out, and she was feeling really bad about saying no to people that she loved and that loved her. And she just said to me, I just can't see everyone that loves me. And I replied, do you hear what you just said? There are too many people who love you for you to accommodate. I said, do you get it now? Why did you have to pick such a hard way to learn this lesson? When Laura was diagnosed, she and Lucie started this incredible journey to find a way to extend her life, and we all took that journey with them. Conventional medicine offered no hope, but Laura's will to live and belief in her survival through alternative medicine was so great that even the most cynical among us was soon on board. This involved adopting a new belief system, expanding the parameters of what we thought possible, or at least suspending our disbelief. Coffee enemas and gruel? Okay. Mystical herbs blessed by an entity in Brazil? Why not? A genie with a lamp? I'm in. Her desire to live was matched only by our desire to keep her with us. In the last days of her life, people from around the country and around the world lit candles to light her way. Extraordinary. I was lucky enough to see her on the last day of her life. She wasn't conscious, but I think she knew I was there, and I told her how blessed I was to have had her for so many years, and that it wasn't over, and I'd see her on the flip side. It was fitting that she passed while the two great loves of her life, Lucie and Carrie, were by her side, and I think that's just how she would have wanted it. This is to celebrate Laura's life, and I also want to celebrate all of your devotion and generosity and commitment to my dear friend, because it made a difference. Most of all, I want to applaud Laura's bravery and grace for setting the bar so high and showing us how it's done. God bless you, my friend. Well done. I just want to...
I didn't know Laura as long as everyone did. I met her about 5 years ago. And but in the brief time, we went through some pretty intense stuff. I went on a very psychological, spiritual journey with her. And within that short time, when we first met, we went through so much. I mean, the emotions and the things we shared about our lives, very intimate details, and it was just incredible. So, and I know one of the things that she was always concerned about was loving people and being loved back. And so we're going to do this song.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure and your mouth a little weak? When you open it
might be one of the few people who doesn't have a nickname. Although she called me Mare. My name's Marianne. And I've known Laura about 10 years. We would have lunches together with a whole group of friends, and she would wink and say, I know you're a lesbian. Well, I think I was the only straight woman there. I'm always joking with me about it, flirting constantly. And she got me into scuba diving, and the two of us went down to Mexico to go swimming with whale sharks, which was an extraordinary adventure. And I'll treasure forever that trip, our conversations, I think, but most of all, just allowing to be a part of all of this. And thank you, Lucie, for opening your heart with and the blog, and just being able to be a part of this has changed me forever, and it's been extraordinary. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Doo-Doo. I want to say I knew, but I have known Laura since I was at least 24, a few years ago. And she picked me up at the cubbyhole. I was sitting at the bar, and she actually sent a friend over to pick me up. And the friend wasn't that good looking. So I talked to the friend a little bit, and the friend said, it's really her. So I looked over, and there was Laura. Beautiful. And that was it for me. She played me like she knew me. She stopped talking to me. She played hard to get. And thus we started a great friendship that lasted till now and forever. This is a poem called To an Athlete Dying Young. The time you won your town the race, we cheered you through the marketplace. Men and boys stood cheering by, and home we brought you shoulder high. Today, the road all runners come, shoulder high we bring you home, and set you at your threshold down, townsman of a stiller town. Smart lad, to slip betimes away from fields where glory does not stay. And early though the laurel grows, it withers quicker than the rose. Eyes the shady night has shut, cannot see the record cut, and silent sounds no worse than cheers, after earth has stopped the ears. Now you will not swell the rout of lads that wore their honors out, runners whom renown outran, and the name died before the man. So set before its echoes fade, the fleet foot on the still of shade, and hold to the low lintel up the still defended challenge cup, and round that early laureled head will flock to gaze the strengthless dead, and find unwithered on its curls the garland briefer than the curls. Thank you.
My name is Fatima, and my nickname is Fatty, or Fat. And Laura thought it was really cute and funny, because she said, yeah, I think it's so funny, because you're not fat. I didn't think it was that funny, but that's my nickname. And I met her in '98, and started college actually the year after. And I just remember how accommodating Laura was when I couldn't come at this time or I couldn't come at that time. And being my boss, as she says, and of course my friend, I just really thank her so much, and Stephen Brown for helping me to pay for college and to make my way through. So that's when I first met her. I wrote a song for her. I entitled Laura, and I don't feel that I wrote the song because I'm sure it happened to a lot of us. The last 6 months was very, very intense. And just seeing Laura go through things, I felt so connected to each and every one, even though we actually just meet here, some of us, for the first time. And as you go through your day, Laura was so much a part of my life, and still is, where we had conversations, where she talked to me, where we laughed, or we had fears together. And I would actually confirm a lot by going to your blog and read some thoughts I had during the day. So right after Thanksgiving, about a week after, I sat down at the piano because I heard the song, and I felt Laura kind of really came through me. And I sang half of it. And then I said to Laura, I can't write this song. This is stupid. You're still here. I'm not giving up hope. And so we had this little conversation, and I finished it just a couple of days ago.
Where I belong, 1,000 miles away is where I'll stay. There will be no sound, there will be no cry. One last sigh will be my goodbye, 'cause I'm right here with you, with every morning sun, today and tomorrow, and all the days to come. And I'm free, I'm free. I see the light, can you see it's so bright? I have no more fear, 'cause the angels are right here. They guide my way, and one's for you to stay, to hold you when you cry, stop you from asking why. 'Cause I'm right here with you, with every morning sun, today and tomorrow, and all the days to come. And I'm free, I'm free, but what about day I do? I know this is hard and it's not what we planned. Now I know how to love, and that love has no end. There's a new place for me, and I'm going right there. I'm sorry to leave, but I will have to go home. I'm going home, but where I do I'm free. I'm free.
It's going to take some preparation.
Since I love to dance, I'm going to make this as short and brief as possible. I think all of you know the three things I want to say about Ms. Laura Scher. A lot of this has revolved around love, and some of us who worked for Steve, and I'm sure others, I just haven't talked to everyone, she'd say to me, Luce, you know I love you. And she'd keep saying, Luce, you know I love you. And I'd say, yes, Cher, I know you love me. We kind of would make a joke out of it. But this fall, I thought about that, and quite honestly, I was in the shower, and I started sobbing. And I said, I have to talk to Cher about this. And the reason I had to talk to her about it, and I think all of you feel it, is when she said it, she meant it. And she had no ulterior motive, no agenda. It was pure. It was the purest expression. I'm a straight woman. And I never felt that she was coming on to me. It had nothing to do with, well, she might have, Laura, tell me if it didn't. but she knew who I am, who I was, and I never felt that. I just felt it was a pure expression of love, which I have not felt a lot in my life. And I needed to tell her that, and I'm glad I did. It was before a lot of the deep stuff started happening, but I think that's kind of what we're saying, and I think it needs restatement because we don't talk about these things too much, in my opinion, to crowds like I'm talking to you. Secondly, people eat. Laura loved to eat. And at midnight in the hospital when I stayed over, she woke up and she said, is there something to eat? And I said, I saw some smoked salmon in the fridge. She said, oh, Lucie bought that. It's great salmon. I want it. So I brought her the crackers and the salmon, and she threw the crackers away. She said, oh, crackers, what's crackers? And she started eating the salmon at midnight, and I'm thinking, is this a good thing or not? I don't know, but I had no control over it. And she stopped when she needed to stop, and then she would start talking and say, Luce, what do you like to eat? I said, I like everything. I said, but I was raised Italian-American, so, you know, do you like Italian? I said, yeah, I like Italian. And then she'd start talking about different countries that she ate in and different food she loved and everything like that. And she said, don't you like Alfredo? I said, I like Alfredo. So this conversation went on, and there was no doubt that the woman loved to eat. And I think she would want me to tell you to eat what you enjoyed and not worry about it. Don't eat like a pig. Just eat what you enjoy. You know, I think that's part of her bottom line. She's probably eating right now. She's probably taking sandwiches off the table. The third thing is, and this is kind of a parable, which we've all heard, but I think we saw it living amongst us with Laura. She said, you know, I've done what I wanted to do. I said, yeah, I know. She said, I went diving. I met wonderful people. I've traveled, and when I dove, we'd visit the places that, you know, the diving were around the diving. And she said, it's a marvelous thing. I've done what I've wanted to do, and I didn't wait. And I think a lot of people wait. Mm-hmm. And she was implying, I guess, retirement, which some of us will never see. Some of us are too poor to retire. Some of us, don't get there. And whatever the issues are, I think she would want you to know that you need to do what you want to do now if you can. And to me, those are the three things I will never forget about Laura Scher. I don't think I had a nickname for her. I should have burdened her with one. But I think that bears repetition, and I think we're all here because we know that.
I was a work friend of Laura's. We knew each other for so many years, as everybody did. And I put away my notes, but I just wanted to talk about how loyal Laura was. I don't think... What's that?
What was your nickname?
She didn't really have a nickname for me. I don't know. She really didn't. Maybe she did.
She did.
Did she?
Kathy D.
Oh, Kathy D.
Kathy
Maybe
D.
it's Kathy D.
Diamond Girl.
Diamond Girl.
Diamond Girl.
That's right. How could you forget? Yes, Diamond Girl. Okay, that works. She was just so loyal. She, I have a close family and friends, but there was something loyal about her. Keeping me working, and there wasn't any question. And then she brought you in by asking you important questions at work, asking your advice about some complicated setup. She just really brought you in And she was purely, totally a boss who was also a friend. And we worked hundreds and hundreds of jobs in every nook and cranny of the city and all the way up Connecticut and Long Island, and with so many idiosyncrasies of these clients, and they were just butter in Laura's hands, just butter. And we watched her, and she was very tough and very controlling, but she was. But we were a team, and a work friend is a very different entity. You may not know exactly their politics or some of their history and relationships, but you know their physicality, and you know that you're watching each other's backs. And she was always in the trenches with us. She was very physical, and of course charming and funny, but she demanded a level of work. You know, she could be tough, but then there was hours and hours worth of time that we could talk and get to know each other, and it was just a long, long, wonderful work relationship. And she was constantly talking emotionally, saying, you know how much I adore you, you know how much I love you. And I'm like, yes, yes, Laura, yes, it's enough, it's enough. And it was uncomfortable for me to reciprocate, really. And so I was so blessed that you allowed us to come into her life and that she wanted to be cared for by her friends. It was such a beautiful thing, and it was my chance to really show her that it was a gimme, it was a no-brainer that I would just stick with her and see how it went. And she was so light. She had such a light touch in her illness. I couldn't believe it. We just talked about, you know, the silver that was stolen from the gimbal house, you know, days before she died. You know, how's it going with the gimbals? You know, she was just really so charming all the way to the end, and I was just precious. So, I just hope that I can carry on, like Marilyn was saying, the extroversion to bring people out, because I could use that, and she tried to teach me that, and I would like to carry that on with her. And I'm already doing it with this guy at the bodega where I work. You know, I'm invisible to him, he's invisible to me, and now I've just been really nice to him, and he's loving it, and we're like friends now, and I'm feeling the Laura.
I'm Carrie, and I think I know a lot of you. There's so many things that I could say. I've really thought very hard about what I would say to you all, and I'm not going to get it right. So let's just put it out there. I'm not going to get it right. I'm never going to be able to verbalize the beauty and the richness and the pain, and the humor and the complexity of Laura, And I know you all know that. I'll never be able to verbalize that. I've tried, really tried, over the past couple of weeks, because I knew this day was coming. I knew that I should say something. But there's a part of me that wants to hold on, because it's very private, my feelings about Laura. Very private. My gratitude, is beyond words for the time that I had with Laura. Most of my adult life has been with Laura. So, excuse me. But there are a couple things that I'm clear I wanted you all to know. And one thing is that Laura talked about, a lot of people and a lot of her work buddies. A lot. And at the Shiva, I was really surprised to hear that people didn't really hang out with Laura, because Laura was a Cafe Society person. And, maybe she should have been born in France, I suppose. But she really talked about you all. Thank you. A lot. and the catering people a lot. Like, I'm surprised that you guys weren't together all the time. And I really mean deeply loved you, you know, loved you deeply. And, you know, you were all like siblings. And I was, you know, fortunate enough a few times to go on catering jobs. I wasn't working, and Laura would hire me. And it was kind of an awkward thing, you know. And, but, oh, wow, it was really incredible to see how powerful she was on the job. I was tremendously proud of her. Tremendously. How fine she was at that job. And it didn't come naturally to her. You know, the first couple of years or so when she was captaining, she really struggled. I don't know if you all know that. She really struggled with insecurity about it, terribly. So, you know, she grew. So I want you all to know that she loved you dearly, dearly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn. 4, 7, 8. Raise. Jump. Jump. Back and step, step. 1. Turn. 4. Turn.
It's so good. Oh my God. And it was like, you know, what was it, $5? She's $5. I need to do something next. I gotta do something with that meal. Guys, no dancing tonight?